An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I believe that is the core message that I can best deliver on the topic of social and emotional learning. My name is Keith Matheny. I'm a high school teacher at Austin High School, and I teach methods for academic and personal success, or MAPS. The class focuses on teaching social and emotional skills and academic supports in a very collaborative and engaging environment. I directly teach over 300 at-risk freshmen every year, in addition to helping train and support another 40 teachers that are giving the same lessons across our district to over 1,200 students. I can speak from the front lines on the need for social and emotional learning in high school, how it is implemented, and its very significant effects on students. Ninth grade is clearly a make or break year. More students fail ninth grade than any other year, and a disproportionate number of the students that are held back in ninth grade end up being dropouts. The current national average dropout is 20%, which, as Tim alluded to, has improved a little. However, a high school dropout is 3 times as likely to be unemployed, 4 times as likely to live in poverty, and a whopping 63 times as likely to be incarcerated. In addition to those staggering numbers, 40% of employers, as Dr. Elias alluded to a few minutes ago, have really in a recent study by the College Board talked about how these skills are sorely lacking in our high school and college graduates entering the workforce, that SEL skills are critical to workplace success. Freshman year is an ideal time to create an engaging, collaborative success skills course designed to help freshmen transition into high school while learning the social and emotional skills needed to succeed in school, work, and life. This type of class not only builds skills, but also really helps students feel connected and can build a great sense of class community. Before starting our program at Austin High, we found that over 60% of the failures on our campus were from the freshman class, and over 60% of the discipline referrals on our campus were from the freshman class. Since implementing this program 4 years ago, we've seen a 30% reduction in dropouts, a 41% reduction in class failures, and an amazing 71% reduction in discipline referrals. These are transformative numbers affecting every aspect of our school. And I'd like to show you a short video of what the class looks like and a couple of interviews of student comments.
I think a lot of freshmen, they have to settle into high school. Because me personally, I think there's a big difference between middle school and high school. So I'm settling in, it was hard. But Mr. Matheny helped me with the planners and learning little things that helped you go further in life. It's a big deal, to be able to learn these things.
In the beginning of the year, he taught us that a handshake, that people would judge you on it. So you have to have a good mesh and a strong, firm handshake. I didn't know that before that your handshake was like a first impression thing. We did a lesson the other day where we put the rocks and beans in a cup, and the beans represented little things like time on your phone, and the rocks represented projects and stuff, and it helps us understand, get the lesson across better.
We're just one big family, we all got along together. And someday, some kid probably had a bad day, but we're all there for him, cheering him on.
You get to talk about personal things if you choose to, and it helps you be more open.
It taught us how to be proactive and except for reactive. After my parents got divorced, it was kind of hard. And my dad, we were arguing a lot, and I used to punch holes in the wall with my anger. But then after proactive, reactive, and my dad would argue, I would just go to my room, just scream at a pillow or something, just be silent, hurting myself, being proactive, then doing a reactive as hurting myself, punching the wall.
At the beginning of the class, I was just stubborn. I was really stubborn. I didn't like talking. I didn't like doing any of that. And throughout the whole process, he was always there. He was on me. He was like, "You do this," and so that that bettered me. I got my whole attitude changed from that class.
So those kids are awesome kids. Over the past 4 years and 1,200 students, I've seen many impacts from students internalizing and applying these lessons. The academic support lessons on using planners, effective note-taking, test preparation, and the overall importance of education have resulted in many stories of recovered grades and improved achievement. Many of my students have made academic honor roll for the first time ever in their lives since taking this course. Have resulted in great stories from students, teachers, and administrators reporting students using these strategies to calm down or prevent blow-ups. In this lesson, we teach 3 levels of mental processing using your hand for a model. There are basically 3 levels to your brain. Your brainstem or your autopilot, your limbic system or your emotional center, and your computer brain or your neocortex. Emotions are very powerful, and when left unmanaged, they will emotionally hijack our brains. In essence, we flip our lids, disconnecting our thinking brain from our emotional brain, and basically just reacting emotionally to whatever's going on in the situation, often making bad decisions and creating damage to our relationships. When we learn to manage and control our emotions, we can calm down and reconnect that thinking brain, that computer brain, so we can be more careful and proactive with our decisions and with our relationships. Perhaps the most compelling is the mental health component. These skills help students deal with stress, conflict, and depression. Also, many students have shared personal information, which has led me to refer them to and get them counseling services for the first time. This kind of class is excellent identification and referral for needy students and quality services. This way, we can often get them help when the issues are still puddles and not pitfalls. So when it comes to policy and support of SEL, what is the question? The question is not whether SEL impacts academic achievement. It clearly does. At Austin High, it's reduced class failures by 41%. The question is not whether social emotional learning helps students see the importance of education and persistence. It clearly does. At Austin High, we reduced dropouts by 30%. The question is not whether social and emotional learning helps students manage their emotions and behavior. It most clearly does. At Austin High School, we've reduced discipline referrals by a whopping 71%. The real question is, as educational leaders and policymakers, which side of the quote, "an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure," do we want to be on? Quality prevention or attempted cure?
Take Keith's statistics for a second. You heard him with great smarts and emotion describe some of the changes, but we did a little fun math. So if you took those statistics and extrapolated them, if you implemented high-quality social and emotional learning programs in high schools for freshmen in the way that that's been done at Austin High School across the United States in 27,000 high schools, you'd have 24 million additional passing grades, 24 million additional passing grades. You'd have 8.6 million fewer discipline referrals, 8.6 million fewer discipline referrals in American high schools if they all had evidence-based, high-quality, well-implemented, expertly taught social and emotional learning programs, 12 million more hours time on task for teachers, just extrapolating from the data of one school, and we can only guess with suicide and severe depression. You can never know for sure, but if you lost 3 lives because of the pain of severe depression, and we could save that number of lives and extrapolate that across the United States, you can just imagine the numbers of 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds who are not facing the most horrific of conditions, which is the sense in which their life is not worth living. We didn't invite you here only to inspire you. We invited you also to ask you to work and work hard. There are 2 pieces of legislation, Congressman Ryan's and Congresswoman Davis's legislation, which are floating around in this place, which we'd love to get some traction on. But I think the main message here is that, as Maurice said, we're past the tipping point. It is time for responsible federal policymakers to create frameworks for the ways in which a pro-social, pro-child, teaching and learning-oriented reform agenda is infused into the way in which public policy is written, and adequate and thorough attention is paid to the social and emotional dimensions of learning and to the needs of children and to the teachers and families in which they're living and growing up.